So we all know that prior to the SDGs, we had the MDG targets. And we also know that many countries missed those targets. And there's been quite a lot of analysis as to why some of those targets were missed. Were they too ambitious? In some ways, some of them were ambitious. But one of the very real criticisms of the MDGs was that they were too top-down in their planning, their implementation and their monitoring. They did not involve communities and did not involve subnational government enough. Having recognized that, there's been considerable global advocacy to change this. The Global Task Force advocated for local government inclusion or subnational government inclusion and SDG implementation, the inclusion of our communities, and we need to acknowledge the partners involved in that advocacy. Other local government organizations that are with us here today, such as UCLG, Platforma, and others. In 2015 in Gaborone, we highlighted in our conference the need for local government inclusion and the role of local government in the 2030 agenda. We achieved what we set out to do. Subnational government does have a meaningful role. We all know that 2/3 of the more than 160 targets of the SDGs require local government engagement. And there is recognition of this globally because of the work and the advocacy that has happened. At UN Habitat 3, Ban Ki-moon then, as Secretary General of the UN, chaired a meeting with a few hundred mayors and local government leaders before the start of the conference to underline the very real and active role that local government has. We now have a strong localization agenda for global development in partnership with national and other stakeholders. And it's important that we create one integrated system and not a parallel system where national government has one system and subnational government has another. It's one integrated system with all spheres of governments and stakeholders in implementation, monitoring, and reporting. So we've achieved it. The global advocacy has had a result. Now the big question is, how are we going to resource it? Implementation will cost money. We will require skills. Microsoft, who are present here at this conference, have assessed the level of data we have across the 17 SDGs to set baselines and to monitor progress. For many SDGs in many countries, the baseline data is either not there or is woefully inadequate. We have challenges measuring SDG outcomes, never mind implementing them. At the same time, the breadth and depth of local government services is expanding as our populations urbanize and grow. And there is an increasing decentralization and devolution framework in many of our countries. Local government simply has to deliver more with less. That's why we are having this conference. It is a natural progression from our 2015 conference, where we asserted our role in global development. So at this conference, we need to look at how we will resource and capacitate global development agenda at local level. We need to look way beyond fiscal transfers from national to local government. At this conference, we will look at the local government tax base and improving that, how to increase locally raised revenue, going to market to access capital funding, municipal bonds, green financing, engaging with the private sector as an equal partner. Importantly, how we work with communities and civil society to create social enterprises, how we work smarter, and all the non-financial partnerships that are required for delivery. Innovations and best practices and learning modalities will also be discussed, so we can learn from each other. Our members and those attending this conference come from very diverse local government systems. We have more centralized models in some countries. We have other countries with strong state or federal systems, and in others with very well legislated and very empowered local government systems. Many of these systems reflect our own local context and our histories. We are not here at this conference to prescribe. We are not here to tell you there is only one way of doing things. Whatever your system, we can agree at the outset on 4 issues. Number 1, the global development agenda is here to benefit our citizens and our communities. Number 2, local government in its various forms is closest to those communities and therefore has an important and vital role in the delivery and monitoring of the SDGs. Thirdly, Nothing will happen unless we resource and capacitate local government. Fourthly, we need to go beyond resourcing. We can only do this together, in partnership, and we can only do this if we actively seek out innovation in that partnership. There are numerous good practice examples right here amongst us. In this room, good practice partnerships, the knowledge, the experience. Individually, you may be sitting here representing your council and experiencing, or representing your country and local government systems in your country, and experiencing enormous challenges in how you're actually going to deliver on the global agenda. Collectively, we can become fit for the future. And being fit for the future is right here in this room. During the next 2.5 days, you just need to find it. Thank you.